All right, good morning, everybody. It is Jay again, and summer is here. We are definitely into the 100-degree weather here in Phoenix, Arizona, but that does not mean that we can't enjoy wonderful fruit. In fact, the fruit is going to be better due to the heat. The heat actually ripens fruit up and makes it very, very, very sweet and soft and juicy. What are we going to be talking about today? Today we're going to be talking about apriums. And apriums are a cross between an apricot and a plum. And I'm not talking about like a GMO cross, guys. I'm talking about a natural hybrid that occurs when two trees get together and do their thing, all right? So here we've got an apricot mixed with a plum, and this is called a flavored Delight Aprium. And this is one of my older trees here on the property. This is one that I planted first, or one of the earlier trees that I planted on the property. And so this thing has had some time to get nice and big, and has actually created this sort of a tunnel effect over my walkway here. So it keeps it nice and cool. So you can see that the body is down here in the shade, staying nice and cool, right? But then you've got the branches and the fruit and the leaves up here in the sun, creating this sort of this arching effect going over here. You can see we've got starfruit over here on this side and apriums on this side. So Flavor Delight Apriums, let's talk about this a little bit. So this is going to grow just like an apricot tree. This is a stone fruit. This is in the stone fruit family, okay? So this is one that you would put more towards either the morning side of your yard or in the midday part of your yard. You wouldn't want to put this particular tree in the afternoon side, and that's because it's going to cook when it gets this amount of fruit on the tree. You got to imagine once it's trying to produce this amount of fruit, every single branch is just loaded up like this. It really puts a strain on the tree, and you have to give them extra water or additional water when they're fruiting like this if you expect this amount of fruit and if you expect them to be juicy like these are. Oftentimes apricots are very dry inside, and I don't really care for apricots in particular. I like the juiciness of the additional juiciness here of the plum that is mixed with this tree. And you can also see that they get full size. That's another complaint is, well, if it's completely loaded full of fruit, will they actually be a decent size or edible to eat? And you can see here that they are. And there is probably at least 500 on this tree. You can see every one of these branches is just completely loaded down. Now the birds get their fill up there at the top, and I bag a lot of these, the more premium ones that are down here a lot closer to the ground, and then these are the ones that fall into the bags, and then these are the ones that I'm able to collect and eat for myself. So I do get quite a few. I bagged about, I don't know, maybe 100, 150 of these. And that's about good for the year. And then I do let a lot of the fruit that falls, I do allow it to go back to the actual tree. I put it down as a food source so that you're not robbing all the minerals off of the tree. Okay, so apricots and apriums are extremely successful here in the valley, along with peaches. Now, what stone fruits aren't that great here is going to be your plums and your nectarines. The plums, their main problem is that they don't get the cold chill anymore. So oftentimes a lot of the plums just don't produce. They just become a nice big tree, kind of treat them like a shade tree, but you'll probably never get fruit off of those. And same with the nectarines and a lot of the nectar plums. A lot of the hybrids are not successful here, guys. And I know you want them to be, and I want them to be as well, but there's only a handful of these hybrid type trees that actually produce fruit here, and this is number one. This is definitely the winner as far as the hybrids. Flavor Delight Aprium, it's low chill. It's around 150 hours chill from what I can ascertain here. It always fruits. It never alternately bears. It doesn't matter if it's cold that year, hot that winter. It doesn't matter. This is one that always produces, and that's why so many people love this fruit, not to mention the flavor. The flavor is absolutely amazing on this fruit. It's a little bit more of an apricot than the plum, okay? So it's gonna taste very much like an apricot, but it's gonna have a wildly sweet flavor there at the end as you're enjoying these. And like I said, you want to let them ripen on the tree. This is not exactly a fruit that you can transport unless you pick them a little bit early, which you can do. Once you start to see them turn a little bit orange or a little bit yellow-orange, about this color, they'll detach from the tree very easily. You just have to give them a little tug and they'll come off the tree. And then if they're not soft enough for you, you can sit them on the counter and let them ripen a few more days, and then they will become nice and soft and sweet inside, and you can eat them that way. Although I would discourage you pulling them off too early, because remember, the point of us growing our own fruit here is so that we can enjoy tree ripened fruit, which happens to be the absolute best. I mean, that thing is just so soft in there, right? That's exactly what I'm going to do, is open up a lot of these bags and get the one out that has fallen to the bottom, because that one is obviously ripe. You can see them here as well. These green fruit saver bags really do save the fruit, because it tricks the birds into thinking that they're not ripe yet. And that green also protects the fruit as the leaves would. So it's the same color as the leaves, providing that same shade and that same color to protect the fruit if you don't have leaves that are protecting the fruit of the tree. Because remember, you want the fruit to be protected from the sun so that it doesn't get sunburn and so that it doesn't ripen unevenly. Okay, so this is a tier 1 fruit tree. Flavor Delight Aprium. This can be put into the full sun. This one just happens to be in the shade right at this moment, although it does get some sun from above. This is not always in the shade like you see it sitting here, okay? It does not require that. In fact, it's gathering most of the light up here on the outer outskirts, and it's kind of backfeeding all that nutrients and energy back to the actual tree. So you get all this fruit down here right where you can reach it, guys. This is exactly what you're wanting. Okay? So tier 1 fruit tree, full sun, requires a lot of water, right? All year people cut these off after they start fruiting, or after they're done fruiting, because they think the tree's done. But you have to irrigate it properly and feed it, which I will be doing here at the end of May. You best believe I feed these trees. That's what gets them through the summertime, guys, and that's how they're so productive that next year, is because you've taken care of these trees throughout the entire year. Okay, so don't burn them up. Give them good water, give them good shade, make sure that all the trunks and the wood is protected by the leaves, okay? Now, I will tell you that apricot or aprium bark is extremely durable and extremely thick and extremely hardy. It is not like plum wood, which is very, very dense and very hard and very slow growing. And the cambium layer on the outside of the plums is not that soft. It's very, very, very hard and brittle. And that's why it's a lot harder to graft something like a plum than it is an apricot or an aprium, because this has thicker wood and a thicker cambium layer, which ends up ultimately saving the tree. So I don't know if I can get this in perspective here. Let me see if I can go up here, but that tree goes about 15 to 18 feet tall. I don't know if you can see the branches there at the top. So it gives you wonderful shade as well. This is a dual purpose tree. This is a shade tree and a fruit tree, right? So this tree is doing double duty. Okay, so let's go make something good out of this. We're gonna be making some apriums and cream, okay? So a lot of people do peaches and cream as a nice drink in the morning, and I do that as well. Okay, the peaches aren't quite ready, so it's going to be the apriums today. And let's go inside and take a look at these fruit and make us a little morning drink. All right, so now we're in my kitchen. I've got my supplies here. I've got my little magic bullet. I've got some milk, and I've got some cream, and I've got some apriums here. Now you can see that this first little group is a lot more orange, and that's because these are ripe. Okay, I picked these right off the tree, nice and soft. Now the ones in the back you can see are a little bit more yellow, not quite so orange, and that's because those are not ready. Those are still ripening. So I'm gonna kind of set those aside on the counter there, and we won't use those today, but we are going to be using these guys right here. So let's go ahead and crack some of these open. All right, let's crack some of these guys open. So you can see that they are basically about as soft as we can get. It's gonna be nothing but goo in here. Goo and mush. So this is how they should look in there. Go ahead and open this one up, take the seed out here, and you can see the flesh, that nice, beautiful, orange, juicy flesh. Oh my gosh. And that's what they should look like. That's exactly what they should look like. You see, I didn't add anything to that. That is amazing flavor, guys. So we're gonna put him in. Let's crack another couple of these open. Oh my gosh, they're so juicy. Oh man. Oh my gosh, guys, if you could smell this as well. Oh my gosh. That's like persimmon texture. Let's grab another one here. Put them in here. Okay, now let's add some cream here to this. Let's see, switch hands here. Let's add some cream. It's kind of fattening, so maybe just like a little more. Or maybe like that much more. Okay, maybe one little. Just pretend we didn't see that there. Go ahead here. I'm gonna pause it a second. Okay, here we go. Maybe. All right, so now we have it made here. Let's do a little pour. Oh my gosh, that smells so good. All right, let's give it a little try. Oh my gosh. That is absolutely amazing. Even if you put that in the freezer for a few moments there, you'd have Aprium sorbet. That is absolutely delicious. All right, guys, that is it for today's video. Thank you for watching. Please leave a like and a little thumbs up. Please subscribe. Oh my gosh, this is so good. I'm gonna go ahead and finish this off here for my breakfast, and I'm gonna get out there in the yard and start watering. Just remember, guys, feeding season is coming up here really, really soon, and I will be out there